The alarm bells rang through Earth Station Alpha at 3 in the morning. Commander Lisa Park jumped out of her bed and ran to the control room. Her feet were bare and her hair was messy, but she did not care. The alarm meant only one thing. Someone in space was in big trouble. What do we have? She asked the night crew officer, a distress signal, Commander. It is coming from the Zilani system. The signal is very weak and broken, but we can hear them crying for help. Lisa looked at the big screen. The Zilani were good people. They never hurt anyone. They grew food and flowers on their planets. They did not even have weapons because they believed fighting was wrong. Lisa had visited their world once. The Zilani looked like tall, thin people with blue skin and gentle eyes. Their children laughed like human children, and their cities were full of beautiful gardens. Play the message, Lisa said. The speakers crackled with static. Then a voice came through, speaking in the common galactic language. The voice was shaking with fear. This is Zilani Prime calling anyone who can hear us. We are under attack. Unknown ships are destroying our colonies. They are taking our people. Please, someone help us. Our children are dying. We have no weapons to fight back. Please, if anyone can hear this, help us. The message repeated again and again, but each time it got weaker. Lisa felt her stomach turn cold. She knew what this meant. The Zilani were peaceful farmers. If someone was attacking them, it was like watching bullies hurt innocent children. Send this to Earth Command right away, she ordered. And contact the Galactic Council. The officer shook his head. We already tried, Commander. The Council said they will discuss it in their next meeting. That is in 5 days. 5 days? Lisa could not believe it. People are dying right now. The Council said they need to follow proper procedures. They want to send a small team to look at the situation first. Then they will decide what to do. Lisa stared at the screen. The Zilani signal was getting weaker. In 5 days, there might be no one left to save. 3 hours later, Admiral Sarah Chun stood in the command center of the human fleet. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had fought in the Mars War 20 years ago. She knew what real fighting looked like. Show me the situation, she said. The tactical officer pointed to the star map. The Zilani system is here. We have 3 human ships that can reach them in 2 days if we push the engines hard. The Crimson Dawn, the Iron Wolf, and the New York. What about the Council's orders? They want us to wait. They say sending our ships without permission would break galactic law. Admiral Chun was quiet for a long moment. She thought about the Zilani children she had seen in the news reports. She thought about their parents who grew beautiful flowers and shared them with everyone. She thought about the weak voice on the radio, begging for help that might never come. Admiral, the communications officer said, we are getting a new message from the Zilani system. The voice that came through the speakers was different this time. It belonged to a young Zilani female. She was crying. Mama said to send this message. The bad ships are coming to our moon base. There are 300 children here. The teachers are trying to hide us, but the bad ships have machines that can find us. Mama said humans are brave. Please help us. I am scared, the message ended. The command center was completely silent. Admiral Chun walked to the window and looked out at the stars. She thought about her own daughter, who was now grown up and living on Mars. She thought about how she would feel if her daughter was trapped and calling for help while people in meetings decided whether to save her. Open a channel to all ships, she said. Admiral, the Council said we should wait. Open the channel. Her voice was hard as steel. The communications officer pressed some buttons. Admiral Chun's voice went out to every human ship in the system. This is Admiral Chun. We have received a distress call from the Zilani system. Innocent people are under attack. Children are in danger. The Galactic Council wants us to wait for meetings and committees and paperwork. I say no, we did not join. This galactic community to watch good people die while politicians talk. She paused and looked around the command center. Every person was watching her. Any ship captain who wants to follow orders can stay here. Any captain who remembers why. We put on these uniforms can follow me to Zalani space. We leave in 1 hour. Within 30 minutes, every human ship in the fleet was ready to go. Captain Torres of the Crimson Dawn sent a message to the Admiral. "Ma'am, my crew's ready. We did not join the Space Navy to watch children die." Captain Rodriguez of the Iron Wolf agreed. "My engines are hot and my weapons are loaded." Captain Kim of the New York was the youngest captain in the fleet. Her message was simple. "Let's go save some people." Admiral Chun smiled for the first time that day. This was why she loved the human military. When good people were in trouble, humans did not wait for permission to help. All ships, prepare for hyperspace jump. Destination, Zalani system. We are going to show the galaxy what humans do when innocent people call for help. The 3 ships disappeared into hyperspace, racing toward a system where children were crying and monsters were hunting. Behind them, the politicians would argue and write angry letters. Ahead of them, people needed saving. Admiral Chun had made her choice. In 2 days, the galaxy would learn what it meant when humans heard a cry for help. 2 days later, the human ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zalani system. What Captain Marcus Torres saw through his viewscreen made his blood run cold. The beautiful blue and green planets he had seen in the travel guides were now covered with dark smoke. Strange black ships shaped like giant insects hung in space around each world. These ships were huge, bigger than anything Torres had ever seen. They had long metal arms that reached down to the planet's surfaces like the legs of terrible spiders. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the sensor station. "What are those things?" "I don't know," Torres said, "but they're not in any of our databases. Send everything we're seeing back to Earth Command." On the main screen, they could see smaller ships moving between the planets and the giant vessels. These smaller ships were carrying something from the planets to the big ships. "Captain," said the communications officer, "I'm picking up Zalani signals. They're very weak. Put it on speakers." A voice came through, broken and full of static. It was an old Zalani male. "This is Elder Cathara of the Zalani Council. If anyone can hear this, please know what happened here. The machines came 3 days ago. They call themselves Devourers. They are not alive like us. They are artificial minds and metal bodies. They want to turn all living things into materials for building more machines." The voice paused, and they could hear explosions in the background. "They started with our outer colonies. They use giant machines to break down everything living, plants, animals, people. They turn it all into basic elements. Then they use those elements to build more ships and more machines. They told us this is not personal. They said they are just collecting resources." Torres felt sick. The Devourers were treating living beings like they were mining rocks or cutting trees. "They do not understand that we think and feel," the voice continued. "To them, we are just organic material to be processed. Our people tried to run, but the machines are too fast. They catch the escape ships and break them apart too. The signal got weaker. We have maybe 6 hours before they finish with the main planet. Our children are hiding in the deep caves, but the machines will find them soon. If anyone receives this message, please remember that the Zalani lived here. Remember that we loved our families and our gardens. Do not let the galaxy forget." U.S. The transmission ended. The bridge was completely quiet. Torres looked at his crew. He saw anger in their eyes. These were good people who had joined the Space Navy to explore and protect. Now they were watching innocent people being murdered by machines that saw them as nothing more than raw materials. "Captain," Lieutenant Kim said softly, "sensors are showing massive energy readings from those big ships. They're They're breaking down the planet's surface. Whole cities are disappearing. Torres activated his communicator. Admiral Chun, this is the Crimson Dawn. You need to see this. A few minutes later, Admiral Chun's face appeared on the screen. She was on the bridge of the Iron Wolf. Behind her, Torres could see her crew looking just as shocked and angry as his own. I see it, Captain. We're looking at genocide on an industrial scale. Admiral, what are those things? Where did they come from? Our computers don't have any record of them. But it doesn't matter where they came from. What matters is what they're doing right now. On the sensor display, they watched as one of the smaller Devourer ships caught a Zilani transport that was trying to escape. The human crews watched in horror as the machine ship extended metal cables and pulled the transport. Inside its cargo bay, they're taking prisoners, Torres said. No, Admiral Chun replied grimly. They're collecting more raw materials. Lieutenant Kim suddenly sat up straight at her station. Captain, I'm detecting life signs on the third moon of Zilani Prime. It's faint, but there are definitely people there. Torres checked his own sensors. Confirmed. Looks like about 200 Zilani, maybe more. They're in some kind of underground facility. That must be where they're hiding the children, Admiral Chun said. The voice mentioned deep caves. As they watched, 3 Devourer ships changed course and started moving toward the moon. They've detected the life signs too, Torres said. Those ships will reach the moon in 4 hours. Admiral Chun was quiet for a moment. Torres could see her thinking, calculating their options. Admiral, said Captain Rodriguez from the New York, we have to do something. We can't just watch those machines murder children. I know, Chun replied. But look at the size of those ships. We have 3 vessels. They have dozens, and each one is 10 times bigger than ours. So what do we do? Torres asked. Admiral Chun looked at something off screen, then back at the camera. We do what humans have always done when the odds are impossible. We fight anyway. She paused and looked directly at Torres. Captain, take the Crimson Dawn and get to that moon. Get those people out of there before the Devourers arrive. What about you? Rodriguez and I are going to keep the big ships busy. We'll make enough noise to draw their attention away from you. Torres felt his heart racing. Admiral, that's suicide. Those ships will destroy you. Maybe, but if we don't try, those children die for sure. At least this way, they have a chance. Torres looked at his crew. Lieutenant Kim nodded. The weapons officer gave him a thumbs up. These people were ready to risk everything for strangers they had never met. Understood, Admiral. The Crimson Dawn will reach the moon and get those people out. Good. And Captain? Yes, ma'am? Show these machines what happens when they threaten innocent people. Show them what humans do to bullies. The communication ended. Torres turned to his crew. You heard the Admiral. We're going to save those people. All power to engines. And someone wake up the Marines. We're going to need them. As the Crimson Dawn raced toward the moon, Torres watched the Iron Wolf and the New York turn toward the massive Devourer fleet. He knew Admiral Chun was probably going to die today. But he also knew that her sacrifice would give 200 Zilani children a chance to live. That was the human way. When innocent people needed help, you helped them. Even if it killed you. Admiral Chun watched the Crimson Dawn disappear toward the moon where the children were hiding. Then she turned to her weapons officer. Arm all missiles. Charge the main guns. Today we find out if human weapons can hurt these machines. Admiral, said Captain Rodriguez over the communication system. The New York is ready. What's the plan? Chun looked at the massive Devourer ships. Each one was the size of a small city. Their hulls were black metal covered with strange symbols that seemed to move when she looked at them. But Chun had fought bigger enemies before. Not in space, but the principle was the same. We hit them hard and fast. Make them angry. Make them chase us instead of going after Torres. Understood. My crew is ready to follow you into hell, Chun smiled. Good, because that's probably where we're going. She opened communication to the entire Devourer fleet. Her voice went out across all frequencies. Attention Devourer ships. This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the human fleet. You are committing genocide against innocent people. Withdraw from this system immediately, or we will destroy you. The response came quickly. The voice was cold and mechanical, without any emotion. Human vessels. You are interfering with resource collection. The organic materials in this system have been designated for processing. Leave now or be processed yourselves. Counteroffer, Chun replied. Go to hell. She cut the communication and turned to her crew. All ships, attack pattern Alpha. Target the nearest big ship. Show these machines what human weapons can do. The Iron Wolf and the New York charged toward the Devourer fleet at full speed. Their engines burned blue against the black of space. Behind them, they left trails of light like falling stars. The Devourers reacted slowly. They had been busy breaking apart planets. They did not expect such a small force to attack them directly. Chun's ship fired first. 20 nuclear missiles streaked across space toward the nearest Devourer vessel. The missiles hit the huge ship's hull and exploded in brilliant white flashes. For a moment, Chun thought they had done no damage at all. Then she saw pieces of black metal floating away from the impact points. We heard it, shouted the weapons officer. The armor is damaged, the New York fired next. Its main cannon sent a stream of superheated plasma into the same Devourer ship. The beam cut through the damaged armor like a knife through paper. Atmosphere and debris poured out of the wound in the machine ship's side. But now the Devourers were fighting back. Giant ships turned their weapons toward the human vessels. Beams of red energy lanced across space. The first beam missed the Iron Wolf by only a few meters. Chun felt her ship shake from the heat. Evasive maneuvers, she ordered. Don't let them get a lock on us. The human ships danced between the massive Devourer vessels like mosquitoes attacking elephants. They were tiny, but they were fast and hard to hit. Chun's tactical officer called out, Admiral, we have their attention. 8 ships are breaking off from the planet and coming after us. Good, that's 8 ships that aren't chasing Torres. The Iron Wolf fired again, this time targeting a different Devourer ship. The missiles hit the machine vessel's weapon systems. One of its main guns exploded in a shower of sparks and metal fragments. Captain Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system. He was shouting over alarms and explosions. Chun, my ship is damaged. Engine room is on fire, but we're still fighting. Stay with me, Rodriguez. We need to buy Torres more time. Roger that. The New York isn't backing down. The space battle became a deadly dance. The human ships were like wolves attacking a herd of giant creatures. They would dart in, bite, and then run before the giants could strike back. But with each attack, the Devourers got better at predicting their movements. A red energy beam caught the New York on its left side. The ship's armor glowed white-hot, then began to melt. Rodriguez's ship started spinning out of control. Rodriguez, report. Chun called. We're hit bad, Admiral. Hull breach on decks 3 and 4, but our weapons are still working. Can you fight? Ma'am, my grandmother could fight these machines with a kitchen knife. We're not done yet. The New York steadied itself and fired its remaining missiles at the closest Devourer ship. The missiles punched through the machine vessel's hull and exploded inside. The entire Devourer ship shuddered and began to list to one side. Chun realized something important. The Devourers were powerful, but they fought like machines. They were logical and predictable. Humans fought with emotion, with anger, with the desire to protect innocent people. That made them unpredictable. All ships knew. Plan. We're not trying to destroy them all. We just need to make them angry enough to chase us away from the planet. Chun's ship dove toward the largest Devourer vessel. She fired everything she had at its command section. The missiles and energy beams tore into the machine ship's brain. The response was immediate. Every Devourer ship in the area turned toward the human vessels, their weapons charged with deadly light. "They're really mad now," said Chun's tactical officer. "Perfect. Now we run." The two human ships turned away from the planet and accelerated toward open space. Behind them, the entire Devourer fleet gave chase. The machine ships were slower than the human vessels, but their weapons had longer ranged out energy beams lit up the space around the fleeing human ships. One beam grazed the Iron Wolf's rear section. Armor plating melted and fell away into space. But Chun's ship kept flying. "Admiral," called the communications officer. "Message from Captain Torres. He's reached the moon." "He's found the children." Chun felt a moment of relief. At least part of their mission was working. Another energy beam struck the New York. This time the damage was severe. Rodriguez's ship began to slow down. "Admiral, my engines are failing. I can't keep up." Chun faced a terrible choice. She could stay and fight beside Rodriguez, but that would mean both ships would probably be destroyed. Or she could leave her friend behind and try to lead some of the Devourers away. "Rodriguez, it's been an honor serving with you." "Same here, Admiral. Now get out of here and let me show these machines how a human fights when he's really angry." The New York turned around and charged directly at the pursuing Devourer fleet. Its weapons fired continuously, striking machine ship after machine ship. The Devourers focused their fire on the attacking vessel. Captain Rodriguez's last message was simple. "Tell my wife I kept my promise. I protected the innocent." The New York exploded in a ball of white fire that lit up half the solar system. Admiral Chun watched her friend die, then turned her ship toward the moon, where Torres was trying to save the children. She had bought him time, but at a terrible cost. The war between humans and machines had begun. Captain Torres landed the Crimson Dawn on the rocky surface of the moon. Through his view screen, he could see the cave entrance where the Zilani children were hiding. It looked like a crack in the mountainside, barely big enough for his landing. "Shuttles, Lieutenant Shaw, get your Marines ready," Torres ordered. "We have maybe 2 hours before those Devourer ships get here." Lieutenant Rebecca Shaw was the youngest Marine officer on the ship, but she was tough as steel. She had grown up in the slums of Earth and joined the military to escape poverty. Now she was about to risk her life for alien children she had never met. "Marines are ready, Captain." "How many people are we evacuating?" "Sensors show about 300 life signs in those caves. Most of them are children." Shaw nodded and headed for the shuttle bay. She had 20 Marines with her. Each one carried enough firepower to level a city block. But today, they were not going to war. They were going to save lives. The shuttle landed near the cave entrance. Shaw and her team jumped out and ran toward the opening. The gravity on this moon was light, so they bounced with each step like they were running on a trampoline. "Hello," Shaw called into the cave. "We are humans from Earth. We are here to help you." For a long moment, there was no answer. Then a voice replied from deep in the cave. It was speaking the common galactic language, but the accent was clearly Zilani. "How do we know you are not the machines trying to trick us?" Shaw thought quickly. She remembered something from her briefing about Zilani culture. Because machines do not understand the song of growing things, the flowers bloom for those who care for them. It was an old Zilani saying about how plants only grew for people who loved them. Shaw hoped she had remembered it correctly. A few minutes later, a tall figure appeared at the cave entrance. It was an adult Zilani female. She was thin and blue-skinned like all her people, but Shaw could see fear and exhaustion in her large eyes. "You are really here to help us?" the Zilani asked. "Yes, my name is Rebecca Shaw. I am a human soldier. We came as fast as we could when we heard your distress signal." The Zilani female began to cry. Tears ran down her blue cheeks like silver. Streams, I am Teacher Villani. I have been taking care of the children since their parents were taken by the machines. We have been hiding here for 2 days. The little ones are so scared. Shaw felt her heart break. She thought about her own childhood, growing up in fear and poverty. No child should have to live like that. Teacher Villani, we have ships that can take you and the children to safety. But we need to move quickly. The machines are coming. Teacher. Villani led Shaw and her Marines into the cave. What Shaw saw inside made her angry enough to fight a whole army of machines with her bare hands. The cave was full of Zilani children. They ranged in age from babies to teenagers. They were huddled together in family groups, sharing blankets and food. Many of them were crying quietly. Others just stared with empty eyes, too scared to make any sound. Shaw knelt down next to a group of young children. They looked at her with curiosity and fear. Her human face was strange to them, but her gentle voice was comforting. Hello, little ones. My name is Rebecca. I am here to take you somewhere safe. One of the children, a girl who looked about 6 years old, reached out and touched Shaw's hand. Are you a warrior? The child asked. Yes, I am. Will you fight the Ingdong? Bad machines? Shaw looked into the child's innocent eyes. If they try to hurt you, then yes, I will fight them. The child smiled for the first time in days. Thank you, Warrior Rebecca. For the next hour, Shaw and her Marines worked to evacuate the cave. They carried the smallest children and helped the older ones walk to the shuttles. Teacher Villani and 2 other adult Zilani helped organize the evacuation. Shaw noticed that many of the children were sick or injured. Some had wounds from when the machines attacked their homes. Others were weak from not eating enough food. Sergeant Kim, Shaw called to one of her Marines, set up a medical station in Shuttle Bay 2. These kids need help. Already on it, Lieutenant. Doc Martinez is getting the medical supplies ready. As they loaded the last group of children into the shuttles, Shaw's communication device crackled to life. Lieutenant Shaw, this is Captain Torres. Sensors show 3 Devourer ships approaching the moon. You have 30 minutes to get everyone back to the ship. Understood, Captain. We are loading the last shuttle now. Shaw was about to board the final shuttle when she heard a sound that made her blood run cold. It was a child crying, but it was coming from deeper in the cave system. Teacher Villani, did we get everyone? The Zilani teacher counted quickly, then her face went pale. Little Kira is missing. She's only 4 years old. She gets scared and hides when there are loud noises. Shaw looked at her watch. 28 minutes until the Devourers arrived. Sergeant Kim, get these shuttles back to the ship. I am going to find Kira. Lieutenant, we should all go back. The captain's orders. The captain's orders are to save everyone. I am not leaving. A 4-year-old child alone on this moon. Shaw grabbed the flashlight and ran back into the cave. Behind her, she could hear the shuttles taking off. She was now alone on the moon with a lost child and 3 machine ships full of killers heading their way. Kira, she called. Kira, where are you? I am here to help you. She heard a tiny voice from a crack in the cave wall. I am scared. I want my mama. Shaw squeezed through the crack and found a small Zilani girl hiding behind a rock. The child was shaking with fear. Hello, Kira. My name is Rebecca. I am going to take you to the other children. Where is my mama? Shaw felt her heart break again. The child's mother was probably dead, processed by the machines like raw material. But Shaw could not tell a 4-year-old that truth. The other children are waiting for you on my ship. We need to go to them right now. Shaw picked up the little girl and ran toward the cave entrance. Through the opening, she could see the black shapes of Devourer ships landing on the moons. Surface, she activated her communication device. Captain Torres, I have the last child, but the Devourers are here. I need an emergency pickup. On our way, Lieutenant. Hold your position. Shaw reached the cave entrance just as mechanical legs began marching across the moon's surface toward her. The Devourer soldiers looked like metal spiders the size of cars. Their red eyes scanned the area for organic life. Shaw held Kira close and whispered, "Don't worry, little one. The bad machines cannot hurt you while I am here." Above them, the Crimson Dawn dove through the atmosphere like a falling star, its guns already firing at the approaching DEVOURERS. Shaw had kept her promise. No child would be left behind. 6 months after the battle at Zilani System, Admiral Sarah Chun stood in front of the Galactic Council. The Great Hall was filled with representatives from dozens of alien species. Some looked like birds, others like fish, and some were just floating balls of light. All of them were staring at her. The chief counselor, a tall alien with 6 arms and purple skin, spoke in a stern voice. "Admiral Chun, you stand accused of violating galactic law. You attacked without permission. You ignored direct orders from this council. How do you answer these charges?" Chun looked around the room. Many of the aliens seemed angry. Others looked afraid. A few seemed curious about what she would say. "Counselor, I answer that I saved 3 million innocent lives. If that is a crime, then I am guilty." The room erupted in angry voices. Some aliens shouted that humans were too violent. Others argued that the law must be followed no matter what. The chief counselor banged his gavel to restore order. "Admiral, the law exists for good reasons. If every species attacks whoever they want, we will have chaos. With respect, Counselor, the Zilani would all be dead if we had waited for your committee meetings." An alien that looked like a giant jellyfish floated forward. "Human Admiral, your species frightens us. You have weapons that can destroy planets. You fight with a savagery we have never seen. How do we know you will not turn those weapons on?" "US?" Chun was quiet for a moment. Then she activated a holographic display. The image showed Lieutenant Shaw holding little Kira in her arms while Devourer machines marched toward them. "This is why you don't need to fear us," Chun said. "We only fight to protect innocent people. The day we start hurting children instead of saving them is the day we stop being human." Another image appeared. It showed human medical teams treating wounded Zilani refugees. Captain Torres was helping an elderly Zilani male walk to a hospital bed. "After the battle, my people spent months helping the Zilani rebuild their lives. We gave them food, medicine, and shelter. We asked for nothing in return except the chance to help." A small alien with large eyes raised her hand. "Admiral, my people heard about what humans did at Zilani System. We have been attacked by space pirates many times. The Council always says they will help us, but the help never comes. Would humans help us too?" Before Chun could answer, the chief counselor interrupted. "The human military is not authorized to act as a galactic police force." "Why not?" asked another alien voice. This one belonged to Teacher Villani, who had been allowed to speak as a witness. She stood up in the gallery where the public sat. "These humans risked their lives for children they had never met. They lost ships and friends to save us. None of you even answered our distress calls." Teacher Villani's voice grew stronger. "I have seen what happens when good people do nothing while evil people act. I have also seen what happens when good people choose to fight. My students are alive today because humans chose to fight." More Zilani stood up in the gallery. Then members of other species who had been helped by human rescue teams in recent months. One by one, they began to speak. "Humans saved our colony from asteroid impact. Human doctors stopped a plague on our world. Human engineers fixed our broken space station." The chief counselor banged his gavel again. "This is not a popularity contest. The law was broken." An old alien with a long white beard stood up slowly. He was Elder Corvash, the most respected member of the council. Chief Counselor, I have lived for 300 years. I have seen many laws and many wars. But I have learned that sometimes the most important law is the one written in the heart, not in our books. Elder Corvash looked directly at Admiral Chun. Human Admiral, your people have shown us something we had forgotten. They have shown us that sometimes you must break small laws to follow the greatest law of all. And what law is that? Asked the Chief Counselor. The law that says good people protect innocent people, no matter the cost. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Aliens argued in dozens of different languages. Some demanded that Chun be punished. Others called for her to be honored. Finally, Elder Corvash raised his hand for silence. I propose a new solution. The human military has proven they can fight when fighting is needed. They have also proven they will not fight unless innocent people are threatened. I propose we create a new organization, the Galactic Protection Force, and I propose that humans lead it. You want to give weapons and authority to the most violent species in the galaxy? Asked the Chief Counselor. I want to give weapons and authority to the only species that uses them to protect children instead of conquering planets. Elder Corvash replied. The vote was close, but Elder Corvash's proposal passed. The Galactic Protection Force was created, with Admiral Chun as its first commander. After the vote, Chun walked outside the council building. Captain Torres was waiting for her, along with Lieutenant Shaw and many of the crew members who had survived the battle. Well, Admiral, Torres said with a smile, looks like we're officially the galaxy's babysitters now. Shaw laughed. Could be worse. We could be politicians. Chun looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Devourers were still active. There were pirates attacking trade ships. There were disasters waiting to happen. And there were always children who needed protecting. You know what this means, don't you? Chun said to her officers. What's that, man? Shaw asked. It means we're going to be very busy. 3 months later, Chun stood on the bridge of the new flagship Defender of Innocence. The ship was twice the size of any vessel in the old human fleet. Its crew included humans, Zilani, and members of a dozen other species who had volunteered to join the protection force. Admiral, called the communications officer, we're receiving a distress signal from the Kepler system. Unknown ships are attacking civilian transports. Chun smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had found new prey. Set course for Kepler system. Maximum speed. Yes, ma'am. What should I tell the attackers when we arrive? Chun's smile got wider. Tell them the same thing we told the Devourers. Tell them that when innocent people cry out in fear, humanity responds with firepower. The ship jumped to hyperspace, carrying its crew toward another fight. But this time, they were not breaking any laws. This time, the galaxy had asked them to be its guardians. The age of human protection had begun. And across the galaxy, those who hurt innocent people learned to fear the sound of human ships. Dropping out of hyperspace. The children were safe. And that was all that mattered.